Hello, my name is Joseph Mbele. I'm from Tanzania, East Africa, and I teach at St. Olaf College in Northfield, Minnesota, in the English department. I've been there from 1991. I teach literatures from around the world and folklore, and I'm also a cultural consultant. I help Americans and Africans understand each other and deal with cultural differences. I got to know about this group through a member of the group. Her name is Anita, and she and I were talking, and she said in southeastern Minnesota there's a group, there's a network of people who talk and share ideas and experiences, and they seek to empower other people who are dealing with recovery issues, dealing with issues, especially mental illness, to help them get back on track, to take, charge of their lives. And it's about restoring hope and getting people to proceed, normally. So she said, maybe I could get to meet you, talk, for a while. And then I said, this looks like a good idea. I was worried because I don't have any expertise in mental illness. I don't have any expertise in the health field. But in thinking about the invitation, I thought about what I do as a cultural consultant, and I realized, I reminded myself that wherever people meet, people of different cultures, the cultural dimension, plays a part, and they have to deal with cultural differences, and it can cause a lot of problems. And when I was thinking about the problems that arise when people go from their culture to another culture, that's when I began to see a connection with the mental illness issue, the mental health issue, because when you are in a different culture, you are likely to feel, alienation. You are likely to feel loneliness. You are certainly going to feel what we call culture shock. So when I thought about these issues, and I'm dealing with them in my own way, as I try to help people understand, the culture they are in, or as I help people understand foreigners in their own culture, foreigners who have come into their culture, and working through those differences, through culture shock, through the alienation, through the loneliness. I felt all these things can impact, the mental health. It can aggravate stress. It can aggravate depression. And so I really slowly began to see that I could come and speak to this group, not as an expert at all, but simply to raise these issues and, set the stage for a conversation. And I knew I would learn from this group so that I could know a bit more, the kind of things they do, and the two sides, they and I, could then explore commonalities, and this could be the beginning of some kind of dialogue, some future conversations. And so I just came to introduce myself, and the thing that I'm talking about is that I'm a cultural consultant, and I depend mostly on a book that I wrote Africans and Americans embracing cultural differences. And in this book, I just talk about cultural issues, about how people of different cultures, in this case Americans and Africans, how they communicate, how they act, how they respond to situations, their concepts of personal space, how they relate to each other, how they relate to issues of time, money, and all that. So that's what I was doing for years, offering consultancies to colleges, communities, non-profit organizations, people traveling to Africa from the USA, giving them orientation. I came to a point where I got the surprise of my life when the college that's called Gustavus Adolphus, they invited me to speak to students who were going on a study abroad program to Africa, and it was a nursing program. And they said they were using my book, and could I come and speak with the students before they traveled. At that point, I was a bit afraid because I told myself again, what do I know about nursing? What am I going to tell these people? It turned out after I spoke with them, or as I was speaking with them, that they are exploring, the cultural dimensions of healthcare, in different places outside the USA. And I began to realize that nurses and doctors nowadays, they are really exploring these issues of the cultural dimensions of healthcare. I came across some articles with the title, Transcultural Nursing. So how do you handle a patient if you're an American nurse, a patient who is from Cambodia or from Saudi Arabia? The patient comes with their own views about all kinds of things, about health, about illnesses, the causes of illnesses, about, what doctors are supposed to do and what doctors are supposed to be, how doctors communicate with patients. So it seemed to me that the nurses in this country, and other health professionals are beginning to explore these things, which I've been dealing with, in my own way. And then doctors at the University of Minnesota, I realized, they have a program in Tanzania training nurses. And they invited me, to one of their meetings, again, to talk about cultural issues. So at that point, I began to realize there is some commonality between what I do and what people in the medical field do. And that's why, I have felt, I could come and join this group and talk. And I've been, very persuaded that we will continue to find, common ground, and because issues such as mental illness, they're very much connected with cultural beliefs also. How Africans, for example, deal with mental health issues. They have their own beliefs, they have their own customs, they have their own healing systems, and they're not similar to the Western. And in the African societies, the lifestyle is communal, and there might be, ways in which we can talk about how that might help, because loneliness, alienation, is handled differently in other cultures. In fact, it seems to me cultures like the African cultures, they definitely don't experience loneliness in the way that Western cultures do, especially except those places in Africa, where they have urbanization. There is this factor now in Africa of urbanization, and people in the cities, they definitely have experiences similar to the experiences in Western countries. So anyway, I thought I should just make those few remarks, and I look forward to conversations today and in the future. Thank you.